Good morning, everyone. So I just made this very simple and short video to instruct you how to working with Raptor. That is the basic introduction to Raptor. So basically, for every program, you will always have the three basic elements in every program. Okay? So specifically for the every Raptor program, you will have the input, you have assignment, and you have output. Input is where the end user enters input. Right? Assignment is everything working with the calculation, with the formula, and the last thing is the output. So once you already figured out with the calculation, you just print it out by giving the desired output. You print it out the screen here. So that is very simple example that you have the program here, and that is an example that the shop owner who sells balls, each one for the $5 here. And you have to write a program to ask the seller to enter how many balls. Right? So you see that when you ask the seller to enter how many balls, that is the input here. And from that, the purpose of this program is that you have to figure out how much money he earned for each of the day based on how many balls he sells, right? So for every program, you have to identify, the first thing you have to identify what is expected output here. So for this one, very simple, and you know the expected output for this one is the revenue, right? How much money the owner got it after he selling the ball here, right? So now, so when you figure out the expected output, and you have to think that what is input and what you need from the end user in order to figure out how much money he getting, right? So for this one, it's very simple. You know that for input for this one is how many ball he already sold for today, and you can use the variable with the name ball to store the number ball. Remember that variable is something it varies, that something is changeable, right? So one time he can enter the 5 ball, or the next time it can be 10 or 15. That is the variable. It's changeable, and it will got a slot in the memory with the name of ball here. Right? And for this one, is the output is also that very simple. Is a print out how much money the revenue here. Revenue again, it's a variable. It's changeable because it depends on how many ball he sells for today, right? So if he sells for 5 ball, he got the revenue of $25, and he sells for 10 ball, he got the revenue of the $50 here. That is changeable again. Right? So you have the input is the ball, you have the output revenue, and you know that in order to figure out the revenue, you have to use the formula here. Revenue is equal to the ball times 5. Ball is the number, ball. It's changeable. Right? It's vary here. And 5 it is the price for each of the ball. Now, so when working with the Raptor, that is the interface Raptor here. It's very simple. So the first thing you have to working with the input. Remember, input is everything is the prompt here, right? You have to tell the user. You have to tell user how many balls he sell for today, right? So you have to use the prompt. So every input in the Raptor, you have the prompt that tells the user what he have to do here. And the second one is variable. Variable is a variable name here. So it depends on the end user. If he enters the number 10, so the variable name ball here stores the value of 10. And if he enters the number 5, the variable name ball here store the value of 5. It's changeable, right? So now when working with the Raptor, you see when you open the Raptor for interface here, everything when you need to get input from end user, you have to working with the input here. So is just drag and drop it, right? You can save it. Okay, so when you drag and drop it, double click it. This is the prompt. Try always to make the prompt more meaningful to the end user, to tell him what he has to do, right? Enter how many ball you sold for today. Okay, that is the prompt. Right? So when you have the prompt, you have to store it into the variable name. This one is a ball. So it depends on end user, right? So if he enters the number 10, the variable name here, store number 10. And he enter number 5, the store variable name bool stores the value of the number 5. All right, so that is the input. Now we're done with the input. You move to the calculation. Right. Every calculation when working with Raptor, it comes with assignment. You just drag and drop the assignments and double click the assignments and do processing here. So you know that you need to figure out how much money he earned for today. That is stored in the variable name revenue here. So in order to figure out the revenue, you have to use a formula, and every formula you put it in here. Formula here, you know that it is equal to the bool, is a variable name bool, times 5. 5 is the price for each of the bool here. All right, so we come back to the Raptor. Every calculation you have to work in with the assignment here. You drag and drop, double click it here. All right, set what you want to figure out revenue, right? So we put the revenue here. And you know that in order to figure out the revenue, you have to figure out by the number of bool he sells time for price of each bool is a 5 years. Right. Now you're done, you figure out, right? So the final step is that you have to print it out to tell how much money the owner earned for today. Right? So the final step here, the output. Again, you just drag and drop the output, double click the output, and again, always try to make the output more meaningful by make it more sense to the end user. Right? So for this one, you just need to the output here, right? And always this is always try to make it more sense. Right? It's up to you. This is the text only, son, and it depends on whatever you enter. The printout is always the same. Now that is the text, right? And you have to take out the value you store in the variable revenue here. That's why you have to plug it revenue. Okay. So now it's done with the program. It's very simple here. So in order to run program in Raptor, you have some option here. You can execute program, or you can run step by step here. Step by step, very helpful when you want to troubleshoot or you want to debug for anything that happened during the program here. So now let me run it here. Now that is a prompt. You see, the prompt always makes the prompt more meaningful, straightforward to the end user. So think about I enter the number. Thank you. Okay, and it's print out here. The revenue you earn for today is 50. It's very straightforward, right? So now try to run step by step here. And step by step, it's very straightforward here. How many balls? So this time I enter the 15 here. You see, the value you enter is changeable. It depends, right? That's why it's variable. And so what happened here? When you enter the 15, you see the variable name bool here got the value of 15. Now I run like next here. You see, after this step here, you have variable name revenue. It's a 75 because it got the value from the 15. You times 5, you have the 75. All right. And the last one is the print it out. The revenue you earn for today is 75. All right. That's a very straightforward and very simple program here. Now, okay. So we run it already. Or one more thing, you can run compile here very fast. So we have the 20 for this time, right? And you have the 20 for this time. You have the 100 for today. Now you have the new problem. Right? So what happened if the shop owner here, he want to change the price from the 5 for each of the bool. Now he want to change it to 6 here, right? So when you want to change it to 6, it's very simple. You know that now the price for each bool is not 5 anymore, but he change it to the 6 here. That's why you change it to the 6 here. Right? So now we depend on the number of the ball again. So if you enter the number 10, now the revenue is a 60, not the 50 anymore. Right? That is the second problem here. Sorry. Now, what happened here? What happened here is the next time the owners call you again and he asks you to change the price to the 7, right? So again, you have to go to the program and you have to change the 7 here. Now, so we see you have so many times the owner ask you to come by to change the price. It's very annoying, right? So instead of that, you have the option to let the owner to change the price by himself. So in order to do that, for this case, you need to use one more variable, right? Normally, you see for this in the program here, the 7 here the code is a constant because it never changes. It stays the same 7 here. And if you want to have the option to change the price, you can use one more variable. And this time you can name the variable name is the price here, right? So we see for this one, you need one more variable and you need one more input. And you got it from the owner, the shop owner here. He able to change it. Right? So for this time here, you need one more variable. You need one more input. That's why you need one more input from here, right? And enter the price for each ball. This time you store it in the variable name price here. Okay. And the formula, of course, the formula here is not 7 anymore, but you have to time it to the price here. It is variable, right? So now to see what happened here, let me run it again, step by step here, right? So see how many balls I bought for 20 for today. So we see it stores the value of 20 into variable name balls here, right? Now, what is the price for each ball? I think this time I want to increase to the 8 here, right? And you see the value of 8 stored into the variable name price. The next step is to figure out what the revenue is. The ball time price. You have the 20 times 8 here, right? That's why you have the 160. And the final step, the print it out here. You have the 160 here. Okay. So I think that's all for very short video. I hope it helped you to understand how to working with the Raptor here. Goodbye. Bye.